Buckle up and hold on. At our church, we love God. Make no mistake about that. At our church, we believe in God's radical, unconditional, and unwavering love for us. At our church, we believe that Jesus is God. We also affirm that you may or may not believe that Jesus is God. And we're not asking you to change your belief system before you attend our church. We're simply inviting you on a journey toward Jesus. For years, churches have placed a high priority on Jesus as the get-out-of-hell-free card. At our church, we place the highest priority on Jesus as a live life to the fullest invitation. At our church, we believe every person has a dream deep inside their hearts, and that God put that dream there, not for our glory, but for His. At our church, we're not concerned with where you've been, but where you're going. At our church, we believe that the Bible is God's Word. It is real, it is living, it is active. We believe that people who don't go to church anywhere are not the enemy. They are real people who need the perfect love that only God can give. And we believe that God gives this love through, of all people, us. At our church, we do not and we will not display a holier-than-thou attitude toward anyone. We are all broken people, but He is putting us back together. And finally, and most importantly, at our church, we believe that Jesus really lived, that He really died on the cross, and that He really rose again on the third day. And we cannot and we will not candy coat or water down that message, ever. Today, you've chosen to sit yourself in the middle of a very safe place to hear a potentially dangerous message. Welcome to our church.
Good morning, good morning. So, hey, that video was pretty powerful. I hadn't seen it before, and I have to say there's so many times that I've prayed for something, a different result. You know, take this away, take that away, heal this, heal that. Not very often have I thought, God, change me and give me the strength, not to change everything, but to accept the things that I can't change. No doubt? No doubt. Hey man, for all the bikers who think God doesn't or can't love them, and for all the church people that think God doesn't care about bikers, they have obviously not been to freedom. Amen? Yeah. Because I sat back there and looked at this crowd and I said, I love bikers because God loves bikers. Amen? Welcome to Freedom Biker Church, York, PA. My name is Jim Quos, and I am free. No doubt. Pray with me. Ah, Lord, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Man, what a great, beautiful, glorious weekend we have. Finally, Lord, we've been praying today, and this weekend you've answered those prayers. Thank you for the crowd that has gathered here. Thank you for the way you love them. Thank you for the way you love me. And thank you for the way we love each other in your holy name. And Lord, I just pray today that you would use me, that you would speak through me, that my words would be your words and your words would be my words, Lord, and that the people that hear those will receive those words, and those words will heal them, and those words will strengthen them, and those words will change their lives for the better, Lord. And Lord, as always and forever, we will be careful to give you all the praise and all the glory for all the good things that you do. In Jesus' name. And everyone said? Amen. All right. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. All right. So announcements. We have birthdays today. Happy birthday to Betsy, and also happy birthday to Madison, who turned 16 today. Yeah. How about it? Can we sing happy birthday? Yeah? Okay. Let's go. Happy birthday to you. All right. Well, great. So, hey, man, it's hard for me to imagine saying this today, but we're going to have to start thinking about Christmas. Man, it just stopped raining. Come on, preacher. But I've been talking to, we've been partnering up with the Beholders the first 2 years we've been here to sponsor some families for Christmas. And what's awesome about that part of what we do is it's our family, right? So we're looking for people that we know that need some help around Christmas time for whatever the reason. So if you have any families that you know like that, let me know. We could probably do, I'd say a half a dozen, maybe more, but we'll start with a half a dozen and see how that goes. And so if you got a name, give me the names, and we'll need to know like how many kids, what are the needs, what do they want. You know, because kids, we want to give them what they need, but also at Christmas, we like to give them a little bit of what they want, right? Because it's Christmas, you know, and we celebrate. So, Refuel. Refuel will start back up this Wednesday at 7 o'clock, yeah. So, you know, it's funny, you get to the point, or I get to the point in the year where I'm ready to go to bike night, right? So, and then we go to bike night, and we do those things, and then now I'm ready to do Refuel again, right? So that's kind of what we do, right? We get together, we hang out, we get fueled up, because really the church, man, and what I've seen this weekend was very evident. The church is not inside this building, right? The people that really are affected by this church, it's great to come together as a family. It's great to get together on Sundays, but the people that really feel the effect, the love of Jesus, are the people we meet out on the road that don't go to a building, that don't know anything about going to church every Sunday, right? And it touches their hearts when I say to them, you're in church right now, where two or more are gathered in his name. He says, so I will be there. Amen? That's what we need to do. Gather, grow, and go. And go. Sons of Thunder. We're going to have fire on October 20th at Jeff and Jane Keefe's house. So I don't know all the details. I heard there might be some shooting and some cornhole playing and some, you know, and fire, which is always good. Robin. Okay, the Biker Babes are going to have a bonfire as well, so maybe we'll have a little competition to see who shows up the most, right? No. But yeah, if it was at Jeff and Jane's, it would like defeat the purpose of the Sons of Thunder thing. Not that we don't love you ladies, right? But it's a Sons of Thunder thing, right? All right. October 13th, coming up fast, is the JC Memorial Ride, first annual JC Memorial Ride to benefit the Ronald McDonald House, man. Let's blow the doors off of that place, man. Let's make this a great ride in memory of how great they have been to a family that's very dear to us. Amen. All right, at this time, we're ready to take the offering. I have a video for you as usual, and as I say every week, man, there's no cover charge here at Freedom Biker Church. Okay, we collect so that you have an opportunity to invest in the kingdom. This is investing in the kingdom, man, and I'll tell you, as many people that love this church, we should have churches like this all over the place. And that's my vision, man. That's the vision that God has given me. We want to put Freedom Biker churches everywhere we can put them, man, because everybody should have the opportunity to have a family like this. No doubt? No doubt. Okay, so Turn, Turn, Turn by the Byrds, played only here at Freedom on Sunday for church. But that is actually from Ecclesiastes 3, 1 through 8. That song is directly from that verse. So a lot of people listening to it at that point in time may not have realized they were listening to church music, but that's what they were doing, right? So look, there's a couple announcements real quick I forgot to mention. There's a ride going down to Westminster next Saturday. Anybody that might want to go on that ride, we're going to meet here at 9 o'clock to ride down together. So if you're interested at all in taking that ride, it's right, bring your helmet, leave your guns here because you're going to the communist state of Maryland. So if you want to be part of that. Also, look, we want to welcome Elizabeth. I forgot to welcome Elizabeth. The Chief Dog's daughter is home on leave from the United States Navy. So she is proudly serving our country, and we are proudly praying for her and supporting her. Also, speaking of veterans, next Sunday is the Legion Riders Breakfast. Yeah, so at 8 o'clock, man, before you come to church, stop by and fill up, man. It's really good, right? $8, 2 weeks. So it's not the 14th, it's the 21st. It's the 14th. Right, next week's not the 14th. Not next week, the week after that, on the 14th, okay? I've been at Red Lion, right, the Red Lion Legion. So make sure you hit that and fill up. It's always good. It's $8, right? If you're a veteran, it's free. So I'm a veteran and I'm free. All right. All right. So if your pastor spends the Sunday after church at Pool League breaking up a bar fight, you might be a Freedom Biker Church. Right? So true story, and this has nothing to do with my sermon, but I thought it was funny. True story, I'm shooting pool, and there was some contention between the people that were shooting pool in the league and some other people that had showed up. And to make a long story short, these two guys are face to face. And so I stepped in between them, and the guy I knew, I said, okay, man, calm down, calm down. I got him fairly calmed down momentarily, and I turned around, and the guy he was confronting was still very angry. And what I said to him to defuse him was, would you actually hit a preacher on Sunday? And he went, really? You're a preacher? But the good news is, man, and you know, look, you don't know why God put you in certain situations, right? And we got to get outside of this church box, man, because, you know, we're always looking for these holy opportunities, right? But there was an opportunity where I got to step in and diffuse a situation, and when it was all over with, the people, both sides, wanted to hear what I had to say to them. Both sides appreciated that I had stepped in between that, right? So you never know how God is going to use you. So don't put God in a box, man, right? Just be followers of Jesus and be ready. That's all you have to do, be ready, because God will present opportunities to you, and you never know what they're going to be. Amen? Okay, so last week, we're going how to be good at life part 2. Okay, so out of my ordinary, I'm doing a 3-part sermon, right? So actually thinking about a sermon 3 weeks in advance. That's crazy, right? But last week we learned through Proverbs, and according to Proverbs, wisdom is an attribute of God woven into everything, right? We learned that. And we learned that Proverbs is basically a cause and effect type of book, right? So if you want to be successful at life, what the book calls fear of the Lord, right? You do that through fear of the Lord. And so you do stupid things, right? You win stupid prizes, right? So that's the cause and effect type of thing. The book of Ecclesiastes takes a completely different view, right? And it's a very interesting book because the primary voice in the book is what you might call a critic. And he's a critic because he doesn't subscribe to it always works out that when you do good things happen, or when you do bad things happen to you, right? He actually takes the position that wisdom doesn't always bring success, and that here on earth here, life is meaningless. This is a term he uses throughout the book. And that's pretty interesting, right? So we go from fear of the Lord, cause and effect, to life's meaningless. So, kind of what difference does it make? Before you agree completely with the critic, because it's easy to agree with the critic sometimes, right? That, well, what's it all mean? Or, well, sometimes I do the right thing and bad things happen to me. Or sometimes I see people doing really bad things, sometimes to me, and nothing happens to me, right? So sometimes it's easy to take that view, but before you kind of throw in the towel about that, remember that the biblical view of wisdom is a combination of these three books of wisdom, the literature of wisdom, right? So it's Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Job, which we'll talk about a little bit more next week. So it got, as in the whole Bible, that's why when people take verses out of the Bible and try to make life rules out of them, you have to be very careful of that, right? Because the Bible is a whole work. It's the whole wisdom of God. You have to read it all and understand the context of it all to really gain true wisdom in life, right? So the critic is the voice, but he's not actually the author of Ecclesiastes. So it's a very interesting book, and I learned a lot of stuff I really didn't even know before I got into this study. The author is the one that actually introduces the critic. Okay, so are y'all confused now? So I was kind of confused at this point. Okay, all right. The author lets us hear from the critic throughout the book, and he does that like to turn our view, or our ideas, or our reasoning of the world kind of upside down, right? So he gets our attention. But the author is the one in the book that he gets the final word when it's all done. Okay? So there's three disturbing truths that the critic highlights. The first one is the march of time, as we would call it. It says in Ecclesiastes 1:4, generations come and generations go, but the earth remains forever. So on a cosmic scale, we are insignificant. That's the first. The second is, we are all going to die. Right? It says Ecclesiastes 3:19, it says, surely the fate of human beings is like that of the animals. The same fate awaits them both. As one dies, so does the other. All have the same breath. Humans have no advantage over animals. Everything is meaningless. There's that word. Everybody shares the same fate, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as Clint Eastwood would say, right? No matter how much good you do, no matter how much bad you do, all the activity that we we all end up dead. You guys depressed yet? I was reading it, I was like, okay, wow, that's great. All right. Read the Bible for some encouragement, yes. Third, and the last difficult thing that he talks about is life's random nature, right? Now, I want to point out this is random from our perspective, right? Because I don't believe anything's random in God's nature, but because God is great and God is big, things seem very random to us sometimes, right? While Proverbs teaches the cause and effect of critic, and Ecclesiastes says that life does not always go that way, right? He says in Ecclesiastes 9:11, I have seen something else under the sun, seen something different than everybody talks about. The race is not to the swift, or the battle always to the strong, nor does food come to the wise, or wealth to the brilliant. But time and chance happen to them all. Again, you can have the person with all the tools, and sometimes they just don't amount to anything, right? Or you can have this person that you say, I don't know what they have going for them, but they're doing really well, right? And you can't even understand how or why. They might not even be able to tell you, right? The point is that you can't really control anything in life, right? It's way too unpredictable. We've all done it, right? We make plans, we think years ahead of time, sometimes just days ahead of time, and things just don't always go the way we want them to, or something happens to derail that idea, that thought process, and it just doesn't end up the way that we think it should end up, right? The critic uses a metaphor throughout the book that everything is hevel. And hevel is another one of these Hebrew words, and it means, the closest meaning is like smoke or vapor. Okay, and so smoke can be really beautiful, right? It's all these different shapes, but it's always changing. Smoke is always changing, right? And it looks solid, but you can't grab it, right? It slips through your hands when you try to grab smoke or vapor or whatever, right? So it'll always take on, it'll have one shape, and then all of a sudden it takes on a completely different shape. This is what the critic compares life to. Pretty good analogy, I thought, once I read about it, right? And finally, when smoke or vapor is very thick, it's harder to see, right? It's harder to get a clear vision of what you're looking at or looking for, right? So hevel goes back to the idea I expressed in the beginning that life is meaningless, right? And that's meaningless is kind of how the word hevel is strictly translated, but and it's how it's been translated over a period of time. But that term meaningless, hevel. The critic's not saying that life has no meaning at all. What he's saying is a lot of times the meaning is unclear. He's saying, like smoke, it can be confusing or disorienting or unpredictable or uncomfortable, right? But not that it doesn't have any meaning. Although it's seeing that things don't always have a cause and effect, and that wisdom doesn't always bring success, he nonetheless believes that it's a good idea to live life in fear of the Lord. So despite, in the conclusion of all of this, he says, even though I see that, okay, it's not always this way, I still know that there is value that it is best to live life in fear of the Lord. Okay? For one, because it's the right thing to do. And we all know, and we're all born with that knowledge that it is the right thing to do. Right? What he's really concluding in this book is that we can't control everything, so stop trying. Right? We're always trying to control everything. We're trying to control the hevel that's floating in the air. And we can't. Right? But we can control our own attitude towards what happens. You know, and it's funny how that video kind of falls into this message, right? Because I'd never seen it, never knew that they were going to play it. But it's not about what happens to us, but it's about how we approach the things that happen to us. It's about our attitude. Because good things, like the author, or like the critic, I should say, the Ecclesiastes says, good things will happen to bad people and bad things will happen to good people. Right? You can't control that, but what you can control is your attitude towards those things. What you can pray for is God to change me so that I can deal with what's going on in my life right now. Right? I heard somebody say recently, you know, that it's not, you know, somebody said to me, you're always calm, you're always patient, what's going on? My son, right from the mouth of babes, right, I could say that, from the mouth of babes, from a person who was rebellious a huge part of his teenage life, says, the reason my dad's is like that is because he's been through so much. Wisdom. That's how we get wise. That's how God refines us, right? By saying, yeah, bad things are going to happen, but man, you stick with me and I'm going to teach you how to overcome those things, right? God doesn't call for us to wipe things out. He calls for us to be overcomers, right? We can't get rid of all the drug dealers and all the drugs and all the bad things in York City, right? But we can teach people how to overcome those things. Amen? We can't control it. We can control us. How our attitudes, how our hearts are towards God. That's the key. That's what this critic and the author in Ecclesiastes is saying. The author sums it up at the end so that we don't lose hope, but so that we remain humble, right? He says that we should enjoy the simple things in life, right? One of the reasons that we're so messed up all the time is because we have so much and there's so much out there to have. And we're always pursuing all of this stuff that's out there. And we're in such huge, I do it, right? I'm on the phone when I should be talking to people, right? I'm looking stuff up when I should be having a conversation with somebody. Enjoy the simple things in life. And he says, enjoy the simple things, good and bad. Good and bad, because both good and bad are gifts from God. Where do we hear that again, right? We hear that in Romans 8:28. All things are done for the good of those who believe and trust in the Lord. So see how the Bible works? All the way back in Ecclesiastes, this is said, this point is made. And then again, in Romans, Paul makes the point all over again. Got to read the whole Bible, guys. You got to understand everything that God has for us, not just little snippets. Right? He urges us to trust that life has meaning even when we can't make sense of it, and to trust God that God will someday clear the hevel in our life. The author ends by telling us to fear the Lord and keep His commandments. This is how you do it. And keep His commandments. No matter, I would add, no matter what. Amen? All right, and so the first great thing that you can do in fearing the Lord, which is really respecting the Lord, which is really listening to the Lord and opening yourself up to the Lord, the first step for us is accepting Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior. And it was so sweet to tell this young lady in the bar Sunday night that God so loved the world that He gave His Son. Right? And she looked at me like she had never heard that before. She might have, but she looked at me like she had never heard that before. And I said, Jesus did not tell us to go out and open up churches. Jesus did not tell us to create rituals so I know how good you are. Jesus said, go and spread the gospel, the good news. And guess what the good news is? God so loved the world. Man, does that get you going this morning? That gets me going this morning, man. And I tell you, when I have an encounter like that, and we can all have it. It's not for me, it's for us. God loved the world. When you have an encounter like that, there's nothing like that experience. You're blessed to be able to tell people that. You're blessed that they could hear that from your lips. And go out and tell the world. Better yet, go out and show the world that God loves them. That's wisdom. If you don't know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior today, you can. Right now. You don't need me to pray a blessing over you. God is available. Yes, God, that's what I want. Yes, I want to have a relationship with Jesus. Yes, I want to know you. I mean, really know you. And your whole world will change, man. He will rock your world. And if you know Jesus today, but you've been living like you don't know Jesus today, every moment gives us an opportunity to change that path. Every moment, and no matter how many times you think you mess up, or how many times you think you should have said something you didn't say, God will give you another opportunity to say, because why? God so loves the world. And how's He show that love? Through us. No doubt? Pray with me. Lord, we love you, Lord. And man, it is so awesome to hear those words that you love us. Man, that you love me. And I know that if you can love me through everything that I've done, through all the times that I've said no to you, for all the times I've pushed you away so I could do the things that I want to do, and even now when I do that, you still love me, you still pursue me, you still use me to spread your good news. You still bless me with the opportunity to speak your words from my lips. God, you are awesome. And I just pray that everyone in this room today would know that you're awesome, so that when they go out of this room today, other people will see through them that you are awesome. And they will feel how much you love them. And they'll know the glory of being loved by the name above all name and Lord of Lords, Jesus Christ. And Lord, we'll be careful in everything we say and everything we do as we travel throughout this week and going forward to give you the praise and give you all the glory in Jesus' name. And everyone